Quick! Name a Roman pasta dish. You ask that question to most people, and probably the first thing that will jump to mind is either carbonara or cacio e pepe. Those two dishes are by far the most famous pasta recipes from Rome and the area of Lazio around Rome. They're everywhere. Carbonara has to be just one of the most popular pasta dishes of all time. Cacio e pepe has taken the internet over by storm. Everyone's sharing their foolproof cacio e pepe recipes. Now, there are a lot of amazing pasta dishes from Rome, but for Italians, the Roman pasta world has always sat on 4 pillars. Not 2, 4. Carbonara, of course. Cacio e pepe, of course, but there are 2 others. 2 other pasta recipes that are reasonably well known, but these days they tend to be overshadowed by the more viral pair. That's a shame because A, if you're interested in Italian food, it's important to know a little bit more than just carbonara, and B, there are such good recipes that once you try them, you might not look back at the carbonara and cacio e pepe. So today I've asked Eva to come on and teach us all about the other pastas of Rome.
This pasta dish, it can be considered something in between a carbonara and a cacio e pepe. Carbonara is a traditional plate of pasta from Rome and is made with eggs, pecorino cheese, guanciale, which is the cheek of the pork, the pig, but is cured, and black pepper. While the cacio e pepe is made just with cheese and black pepper. This pasta is called pasta alla Gricia and is made with guanciale, pecorino cheese, and black pepper.
So you can either think of it as a carbonara without eggs or a cacio e pepe with guanciale.
So it depends if you are positive and you want to add, or you are negative and you want to subtract. Yes, this one. I'm cleaning the exterior part of the guanciale where there is too much black pepper, and also is the part that was in contact, by the way, with the, dust, open air, all this. For all the rest, I'm going to cut it in cubed, something like that. About the pasta shape that we are going to use to make the gricia, you can choose between rigatoni, tortiglioni, or what I'm using today, which is mezze maniche. This is a rigatone cut in half. The best way to cook this pasta is to use a tube with ridges, because it can keep much more the condiment than a very smooth pasta.
And the best part is when some guanciale goes inside the tube, yeah.
While the pasta is cooking, we can actually cook the guanciale. Here I have a pan that hasn't any fat inside. So you don't need olive oil, you don't need butter, you don't need lard. We need just the guanciale because, as you can see, it's pretty fat. So here the idea is that we are going to use the fat from the guanciale. What we need to do with our guanciale is just let the fat melting and brown it a little bit. We need a guanciale that is a little bit crunchy but release most of the fat. What I'm going to do with the grated pecorino cheese is adding a little bit of pasta water, because what we need to create is a sort of cream. A little bit more. As you can see, this guanciale looks enough crunchy, enough browned, which means that we can turn off the heat and wait for the pasta to be cooked perfectly al dente, which means maybe more than al dente, which means we will take out from the boiling water 2 minutes, 3 minutes before.
When you say more than al dente, you mean cooked less than al dente, not further than al dente.
Than al dente, less than al dente. Yes, because when we say more than al dente means more...
Means extra
extra al dente,
yes.
This is exactly 3 minutes before to be al dente. We turn the heat on and we transfer the pasta into the guanciale. And we keep cooking the pasta, adding a little bit of pasta water. We can add the black pepper. When the pasta is actually al dente, what you need to do is turn off the heat and wait 1 minute, because we need the pasta cool down a little bit before we add our cheese. Otherwise, it will be all clumsy. But we want the cheese to be melted and smooth into our pasta. And as you can see, it becomes creamy, how do you say, suddenly?
Just like that.
See, without any particular techniques or particular I don't know what.
We have now an incredibly creamy, dreamy sauce.
You need just to wait a little bit, then the temperature drops.
All right, you guys know the deal. When there is a cheese-based pasta,
You can't wait.
you do not let it sit around for long. So before we say anything about this, we're gonna dig in and try it.
Buon appetito.
It's actually been a long time since we've had pasta alla Gricia.
See, I don't know how many years, maybe.
You made it in Rome at my dad's house because we were in the mood for pasta alla Gricia and we were walking around and looking at restaurants, but all of them, they were just doing like carbonara and cacio e pepe, and it was actually hard to find a pasta alla Gricia, so you
we
just made
decided to
it.
go and make at home, I think.
But that's kind of the problem because, you know, carbonara, cacio e pepe, they completely overshadow this dish.
You can still find in some traditional restaurant
Yeah.
in Rome.
Yeah.
It's not that it's not possible to find it. But it's not really common and well known as actually carbonara.
I can only speak for myself, but personally, okay, and especially I'm thinking about this comparing it mostly to a cacio e pepe because the sauce itself, that cheesy pecorino sauce, is just basically the cacio e pepe sauce. But when you add guanciale, I think it just blows cacio e pepe out of the water.
Personally, and I can speak just for myself, I'm not the biggest fan of carbonara in this world. For me, this is much, much better because actually you take out an ingredient that I love eggs. But when you have an eggs and cheese and guanciale and black pepper, sometimes it's too much. So personally, I prefer this to a carbonara.
Of course, the challenge here is that you have to find guanciale, which can be difficult depending on where you live. But here's the one thing I will say. If you can't find guanciale, that means that for sure you can't find good pecorino, which means if you make cacio e pepe, it's gonna be terrible anyway because it'll just be salty. The sauce will just be salty.
So maybe
So make tomato sauce, I don't know.
mean-
Speaking of tomato sauce, actually, maybe it's time to get to the second of the 4 great pillars of Roman pastas.
that personally I put as the first one. Not the carbonara, not the gricia, not the cacio e pepe.
This is a pasta dish that we made recently as a risotto version and realized after making it that other than a old video a long time
Maybe
ago,
3 years ago, 4 years ago.
we haven't really revisited in a while, so we thought this would be the perfect excuse to make one of Eva's favorite pasta dishes.
This pasta uses more or less the same ingredient of a carbonara, which means guanciale, black pepper, pecorino cheese, but instead of the eggs, we are going to use white wine and tomato. As a Southern Italian, I really think that tomatoes makes everything better. And by the way, for those of you who didn't understand which pasta dish I'm going to cook the very famous and delicious Amatriciana. Just like before, we are going to cook the guanciale without any other fat, because we are going to use the fat from the guanciale. After the guanciale release some fat, we can add a little bit of white wine. And once the smell of the alcohol is completely evaporated, it's completely disappeared, is the moment in which we can add whole peeled tomatoes. If you don't have, you can use also tomato puree. With a fork, crush the tomatoes a little bit.
And enjoy one of the best smells on planet Earth.
See, also that. Add a little bit of salt, not too much, because by the way, the guanciale is pretty salty. Don't forget the black pepper. And on a medium-low heat, we wait until our tomato sauce, the Amatriciana sauce, is ready, which means 10 minutes maximum, no more. My only problem with the traditional pasta alla Amatriciana is actually the pasta shape. The traditional pasta alla Amatriciana requires bucatini. It's a very good plate of pasta. It's amazing. It's one of my favorites. But I think that there can be various pasta shape better than the bucatini, because I'm not a big fan of bucatini. You know why I'm not a big fan? Because as soon as you eat bucatini, you can tell from your shirt. Because you can't really, how do you say, twirl the bucatini. It will be always a mess.
What a great day for me to wear white.
See, actually,
That wasn't very smart of me.
No, absolutely. So, when the sauce is thickened, like this, your Amatriciana sauce is ready, which means that you can turn off the heat and wait until the pasta is al dente. Perfect al dente, which means that I turn on the heat back and I'm going to transfer the bucatini into the sauce. A little bit of pasta water. We can add some pecorino directly into the pasta.
And then you struggle to plate it because it's bucatini.
I'm trying here to be fancy. I'm trying, but more or less it's impossible.
This is my I'm about to eat bucatini apron. I need a bib.
You need a bib because this doesn't actually cover
That's true.
the risky part.
Yeah.
So,
We should make bibs also. We have aprons on the website. We should have bibs.
just for the Amatriciana.
Just
Or for every plate of bucatini pasta.
That'll be a
because
good bib. This is my Amatriciana bib. We'll work on that. Anyway.
Here in front of us we have what for me, without any doubt, is the queen of the Roman pasta.
Yeah, well, we made a video recently with like sort of how you can do different rice versions of almost any pasta dish you want. And one of them was Amatriciana. It got us thinking how good Amatriciana is. And then we realized it really hasn't made much of an appearance on the channel, despite being one of our favorite pasta dishes.
So because we really wanted a plate of Amatriciana, we found an excuse to make a video on Amatriciana. Here I have to say one thing. Because when I lived in Rome, one of the traditional pasta served with Amatriciana, that was actually my favorite, was the tonnarelli.
Oh, you mean the pasta shape?
Yes, pasta shape. Now think that a tonnarello is like a very thick spaghetto, possibly squared, but egg fresh pasta. And in my opinion, that is the best pair with Amatriciana. But you find that just in Rome. Outside of Rome is bucatini alla Amatriciana. We hope that we are not too messy here. No, there is no way. It's like you need to accept the chaos of bucatini and just embrace it.
All right, buon
Buon
appetito.
Even with bucatini, that is an amazing plate of pasta.
Bucatini can be a frustrating pasta but there are a few pastas like this where for inexplicable reasons, it's just really good.
I know.
And again, like, don't ask me why, I can't put it into words, it's ineffable, but this is one of those dishes where...
Where bucatini works.
Yeah. So the Gricia, it's, you know, easily comparable to Carbonara, to Cacio e Pepe. Amatriciana just takes things in a completely different direction. So it's not really a fair comparison, but I will make the comparison anyway just because it is so dang good. You know, I went into this thinking of this as a lighter carbonara, because obviously tomato sauce is lighter than, you know, egg yolks, essentially. Actually, I think that's maybe the wrong way to think about it. This should maybe be thought of as a heavier tomato sauce. There's nothing really better than just a plate of very good spaghetti with tomato sauce if you do it well. But this is like when you want a little bit more oomph.
When you want an amatriciana. Let's be honest, call it for what it is. When you want amatriciana, you make an amatriciana because there is nothing better than this. Now you can do this. Still, your t-shirt is completely white. You see? It takes just some training. So
Same.
eat bucatini every day, and then at the end, you will be capable to eat without making a pollock on your t-shirt.
Speaking of that video where you made pasta rice dishes, Pasta Grammarian Carol, whom actually we've had the pleasure to meet because she came to the Weekend Assai here with us, she wrote to us with this beautiful picture where she adapted pasta alla puttanesca into a rice dish, and it looks fantastic.
And she said that it was very, very flavorful and very tasty. And this is actually something that makes me very, very proud because Carol took an idea that we gave, but then make that idea her own.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Brava Carol.
If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you like what we do and you want to support the channel, come join our community over on Patreon. All right, guys, we'll see you next time. Ciao.
Ciao.